Hello, everyone. It is August 1st, and I am back today with another video. We're going to be back to normal uploading schedule because I'm back from vacation, and that's why I have not been posting for the past week and a half. I think I did try to. I got one video out when I was on vacation, but it took a very long time to get out, and so it was really I didn't have time to do it. But I'll be back with a normal upload schedule again. We're going to be uploading pretty much every day. But yeah, so right now we have Hurricane Isaias riding the East Coast. That's going to be what we're going to be talking about at the beginning of the video. Right now, Hurricane Isaias has maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour, so it is a weak Category 1 hurricane. Hurricane force winds, it's forecasted to stay a hurricane all the way till around noon or 8 a.m. on Monday. Then as it goes up towards South Carolina, it's forecasted to kind of die off into a tropical storm. National Hurricane Center has it making landfall in North Carolina. And then uncertainty after that, the National Hurricane Center thinks it's probably going to ride the East Coast up to the north in that area. But right now, hurricane warnings are in that red color for areas of the Bahamas and eastern Florida. Tropical storm warnings are in the blue color, which that goes all the way up to southeast, almost the coastal areas of Georgia. And we have yellow. We have a little bit of tropical storm watches out for coastal Georgia also right now. Now let's look at some of the other things here. So I got the wind speed probabilities. So Orlando, you have about a 20 to 30% chance of experiencing tropical storm force winds. Miami, you're kind of right on that 40%. Areas of coastal South Carolina, right now, areas that have they're the highest chance of tropical storm force winds are on the eastern coast of Florida. And this area here is pretty uncertain on what's going to happen right now. So that's why probabilities of tropical storm force winds aren't high in that area. But we will have another update on Isaias tomorrow. Or Isaias, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it Isaias. Now, let's continue looking at this. Wind history. So we can see that the tropical storm force winds, normally when we get one of these storms, as the storm grows and strengthens, the tropical storm force wind field will get bigger. But with this one, as it kind of got more, as it was strengthened into a hurricane, the tropical storm, or the wind field's getting smaller. Right now, it's like 2.5 times smaller than it was when it first started. So it's gotten a lot smaller. Let's look at the U.S. rainfall potential. Areas like New York City down through New Jersey, down to South Carolina could be looking at 4 to 6 inches of rain, maybe localized higher amounts too. So we're going to be looking at some flooding with this. Now let's go. We're going to look at. Let's use this here. Let's go to the GFS model. I never actually loaded this. All right, sorry. All right, there we go. So right now we can see tropical storm or Hurricane Isaias is right there. We have a low pressure system right here. It's going to be producing our severe weather today in this area and our severe weather potential tomorrow in the Northeast, which we're going to be talking about towards the end of the video. You can see this particular model, the GFS model, has this thing coming really close to Florida. This is the latest model run. It has it potentially even making landfall in Florida. Then it has it moving up, definitely making landfall as a pretty strong storm in South Carolina, North Carolina, kind of that area. Let's switch the color of the pin to this color so you can see it's going to make landfall right there according to the GFS model. And then go ahead a little bit later. You can see it goes up through eastern Virginia, hits New Jersey, and then it kind of falls apart. It hits New York City and goes northeast. The GFS model has it making landfall in North Carolina and then not going back out in the Atlantic. Some of the model runs, though, like the National Hurricane Center is thinking it's going to do this. It's going to go back out into the Atlantic for a little bit. So it could re-strengthen a little bit. But now let's take a look at some of the other models. We're just going to look at one more. I think we're going to look at I think we have what's this? Oh, I think this is the Canadian model. Yeah, this is the Canadian model. All right, so we can see the Canadian model has it, or this particular model has it hitting South Carolina and heading northeast. And it kind of thinks what the GFS is thinking too. It goes up into the northeast, but it doesn't really dip back into the Atlantic. That's okay. Here he goes. Is another one. Let's look at this one. Is this particular model run? It doesn't go out that far, but this one has a center of the low pressure system by Orlando, Florida. So that could be kind of interesting. I think that the models have been trending a little bit further to the west lately. Yesterday they were trending further to the east, but today they're trending a little bit further to the west. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Now let's switch away from the tropics for a little bit. We're going to talk about the severe weather. So today we do have a slight risk in areas of southern Ohio, northeastern Kentucky, northern West Virginia, southwestern PA, and northern Virginia. We have a marginal risk surrounding that area. This is with the disturbance or the low pressure system I was telling you guys about a second ago. And we do have another separate marginal risk in areas of Arizona and New Mexico, right there. Now we go to day 2. Let's look at the probabilities for today from the SPC. I did not make any custom outlook or any of my outlooks today. But we got SPC as a 2% for tornadoes, 15% wind, and no hail threat. But they do have a hail threat in New Mexico. Now let's go to day 2. I think tomorrow is going to be a bigger tornado day. Tomorrow we already have a slight risk out in areas of New York, northeastern PA, northern New Jersey, western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, and a little bit of western New Hampshire. We do have a pretty sizable 5% tornado risk for tomorrow. Wind threat 15% and hail threat 5%. Now I do feel like tomorrow could potentially set up as could set up maybe a triple point in northern New York. We're going to be talking about that later in the video. But first, let's look at let's look at what could happen tomorrow with reflectivity on the newest NAMNEST model run. Let's look at what the NAMNEST is thinking about reflectivity tomorrow. So in the afternoon, the one thing that could limit this is if we have too much morning showers and too much morning cloud cover, we may not get anything to form. But if we can get enough sun to come out and we can get enough instability to grow, then it could be an interesting day tomorrow in the northeast. We see as we go to the afternoon at around 16Z, not really any activity, maybe some convection down through eastern New York. This could limit you see this convection the AMS model has here, that could limit the storms in the afternoon. That could limit the instability, so you're going to have to keep an eye on that. But as we go later, you can see the cold front seems to be kind of somewhere in this area. We can look at the winds. Yeah, the cold front's back right here. You can see the winds are coming from the south right here, and then they're coming from the north right here. So the cold front's like that, according to this model. But in front of it, we do have some storms trying to get going. Kind of by I don't know what city that is. Probably to the north of Buffalo, or to the east of Buffalo. As we go later, this is 20Z now. This is around 4 to 5 p.m. We have the cold front is situated right in this area still. It looks like we have some storms trying to get going in Ohio and PA, maybe western New York too, along that cold front. And we might even have a 2 cold front scenario. It looks like we have like a boundary, maybe a boundary right here, and in front of that we're going to be seeing some storms. Some of these could be supercells in central New York, maybe northern New York. Now about the triple point setup, we're going to be talking about that in a second. But you see the storms are pretty short-lived. They're not going to be long-lived supercells and stuff, but I think we're going to have decent coverage of them in New York. We can see areas like Syracuse and Albany could get them. New York City, you are on the southern side of this, but I do think you could get something potentially. But I think the biggest tornado potential, in my opinion, is probably going to be this area. That's what I'm thinking, in northern New York. Now let's look at what the NAM model is showing with severe weather ingredients. Let's look at the ML Cape real quick. Mixed layer Cape. Let's let that load in. All right, so looking at mixed layer Cape, let's get this ad out of here. So tomorrow, this is today. Tomorrow afternoon, we have decent Cape building up. But you see, the thing that could limit the supercell action in northern New York could potentially be Cape. We see, this is tomorrow afternoon. We have Cape in this area. in areas of PA all the way up to southern Canada and down. Areas like New York City, you do have the highest cape, kind of in that area by New Jersey, according to the NAM. But I think that I don't think that's where the best tornado potential is going to be. The ingredients are more setting up in northern New York for it. But I think if anything can get going by New York City, which I think it can, if the Cape numbers if the Cape's going to be this high, which I think the models might slightly be overdoing it due to morning convection. If the Cape actually, if we can get enough sun to come out, I think New York City, to the west of New York City, could be looking at some severe weather also. As we go later that night, the Cape kind of fizzles out. But we do have around 1,000 Cape getting all the way up to northern New York. That's decent enough for severe weather and some supercells to get going. So that's not bad. Now it's like a mixed layer CIN. This will kind of show us what we have with the cap. All right, so cap-wise, let's X out of that. Tomorrow afternoon, we do not have much of a cap. Pretty much we have no cap at all in this whole area. And so this is good. This whole area right here that I'm drawing has no cap. Better than that area, but this is decent for severe weather because tomorrow we don't have any cap. It's not going to take a whole lot of forcing to get storms to go. As we go towards 00Z, cap does slightly increase in some areas, but still not high. Then it increases overnight, of course. So yes. Now let's look at the lifted index, because sometimes lift is a problem in the Northeast for severe weather. Moisture is going to be I think is good enough. Now we don't have a whole lot of lift in the Northeast tomorrow, according to this. Or that's today, sorry. Tomorrow, oh yeah, we do. All right, so southern areas like northern New Jersey, -9. That's pretty good. -6. In northern New York, -5, -6 in central New York. And in southeastern New York, northern New Jersey, and eastern PA, we have good numbers. And right along the secondary cold front in northwestern PA, -4. And now let's look at the dews again. I don't even think I explained that. Or so what was going on with the dews. All right, so tomorrow we do have good dews. Tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, here we go. So these are our dew points tomorrow afternoon. We have dews in southeastern New York of 76 and 77. Northern New Jersey, 77. In northern New York, we have dews around 70. So really good moisture tomorrow. Now, about the triple point setup, I think tomorrow we could potentially be looking at a triple point setup. Maybe in this particular area here, I think we could see that. I think that's going to enhance our tornado potential tomorrow. I do not think tomorrow is going to go 10% from the SPC. 10%. I think it's going to stay 5%. I don't think they're going to issue an enhanced risk either, just due to uncertainty. Now let's go back to severe weather. Let's look at some other things. Let's look at bulk shear, surface to 500 millibar. Then we're going to take some soundings after this. So you see, tomorrow afternoon, we have really good bulk shear numbers, especially in southern Canada. In southern New York, we have good bulk shear too. But I think along the warm front, I think that's going to be the enhancement of tornado potential. And pretty much around 40 knots of bulk shear. That's pretty good. Now, we're going to take some soundings here. So let's go to this, and let's see if we can get any good soundings. All right, so tomorrow, got the low right there. It looks like our cold front's here, our warm front's there. So if our low pressure system can be further south enough, I think maybe this area in New York could be getting a triple point setup. So I think for tornado potential, I'll draw this out for you guys. So our warm front is right here. The cold front is in this area. So yeah. Now in purple, I think this area here is going to be our triple point setup. I think that's going to be the best area for tornadoes. So we're going to have to see. All right, so yeah, let's try to take some soundings here. One of that is a Tor sounding. Decent, that's okay shear. It's not. It's good shear. Surface to 1 kilometer 15. Surface to 3 kilometer 28. Yeah, so decent low levels and decent upper levels also. Cape is okay. Dews 70. That's really good actually for the Northeast. Possible hazard type tour. So tornado. Let's go down to PA. Marginal severe. Yep, I kind of think that too. See really no directional shear at all. We go a little bit later. We have a little storm right there in southeastern New York. Let's see about that. That is a tour sounding. Bad thing about that. Okay, no, Cape's actually decent. Lapse rates though. Lapse rates are not good. So I think tomorrow we're not going to be looking at really a big hail threat. Maybe a few storms of hail, but I don't think we're going to be looking at a giant hail threat. I think lapse rates are pretty small tomorrow, or pretty bad. But this sounding is actually decent for tornadoes. But yeah, that'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow, again. Yes. All right. So yes. Here, wait a second. Yeah. So I think areas. I think New Hampshire. I think if okay. So to say this, I think if it does go enhanced tomorrow, it's going to go enhanced in this area, probably in northern New York, maybe a little bit of northwestern New Hampshire, or potentially this area. Yeah, that'll wrap up this video now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow. Yes.